young lady who was one of the first African Americans to be in a unique business dealing with wood pallets. She, did her research. She studied the business before she got into it. She had some great contracts like with Coca-Cola, Office Depot. I helped her with the Office Depot contract. However, Coca-Cola did a net 30. Office Depot and some of the other large contracts that we were going after were doing net 90. And it created a cash flow problem. They demanded on a weekly basis on the distribution to 26 distribution points around the country, but it cost, for trucking and et cetera, logistics, and you have to float that up front. Meanwhile, they take their time with the 90 days about paying you, because they want this stuff delivered every week. We couldn't get loans, based on she already had a factory, not a factory, a warehouse. She leased brand new equipment, things of that nature, but we couldn't get loans or anything of that nature, to help the cash flow. And I thought it was sad because she did, help brothers who would normally, that were in prison to get work, and so she got the tax credits and things of that nature, but the business had to close after, less than 5 years. And I was just thinking what could have been done, to, help her survive. We want to say we could get loans.
To answer your question, I just got back from the White House a week and a half ago. There was a conference called MedWeek. This conference is extremely important for all entrepreneurs in the room. During this conference, there were 10 businesses that were celebrated. And the businesses that were celebrated got awards because they did double digits. They were doing like 26, 36, 10, 15 million dollars. And all of them, the reason why I bring this up is because they were all government contracts, all right? So Courtney said earlier, sometimes if you get a big contract, kind of back out of it, but you only get that opportunity one time to go into court, and whatever they give you, that's what it is. It's not the time to say, hey, I can't handle this. So what could have happened, and this is important for everybody to know in the room, is something called purchase order financing. That piece of paper is basically money. And that money could have been, it's not a loan, it's not anything that could have been taken to SBA. It could have been factored, and I don't recommend factoring, but in a situation like this where you got 26 other distribution points, factoring would have been in order. And what factoring basically says is that I'm going to factor my receivables or my invoices. So if I know that I got to go and deliver the 26 points, I know that I'm going to get a certain amount of money from these people. The factoring company comes in and they say, hey, listen, we're going to pay you 80 to 90% of this paper, all right? And then if Coke is the municipality, or in this instance, the corporation behind that paper, they will assign whoever the factoring corporation is. So they'll then pay the assignee or whoever the factorer is, and the factorer would have paid the entrepreneur. So, school doesn't teach that. Well, I didn't get that from Morris Brown College. I got that while I was in motion, okay? So these are the, we don't understand financing and how financing works. It's almost like don't be an entrepreneur, which brings me back to financing is everything. If you can't finance your dream or figure out how to finance your dream, then, you kind of live in a pipe dream. So that's why these different products are so important. Purchase order financing is critical. Factoring is critical. I mean, that could have been handled in that. And the other thing that I heard that was very important is that manufacturing is done in Indonesia, Malaysia, and China. If anybody in here has any kind of manufacturing going on, a ticket to Shanghai is only $650 on Korean Air, all right? And they leave straight from Hartsfield Jackson, and there's no delay. They go straight to Hong Kong. All right, when you don't need to know anything, you just go, get on the plane, go, spend your $650 one way or round trip or whatever, and you can tell those people what you need. If you want to redo this tie, this Brooks Brothers tie, you just go bring the fabric with you, and when you get off the airport, you show the tie, and they take you to the manufacturer. And you can sit down with Mr. Kim, say, hey, listen, Mr. Kim, I need 400,000 of these printed by next week. And Mr. Kim says, hey, give me 50 cents per tie. Then we talk about our terms. I'm gonna need to get it. If the bill's gonna be $100,000, I mean, you need $10,000 before you leave China. When you get back home, let's talk about this other $90,000. So when we get into deals like that, what we need to talk about is how can I structure this deal? And what I see all the time is that we lack the ability to figure out who to call to structure those deals when we get a real situation like what you were saying. So I only throw this out because when you go to MedWeek, when I was at MedWeek, I sat next to somebody who was the CEO of a company here in Atlanta called Action Capital at 233 P Street, and that's what they do. They only deal with factoring invoices and receivables for governmental contracts for $25 million and above. That could have solved her problem, but we didn't know that, which is why financing is everything. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, and I've gotten into a lot of different situations, but it's because I understood how to finance the deal that I've been able to get in and out of transactions. So finance to me, from my standpoint, if you want to be an entrepreneur, a real entrepreneur, where you don't go to a job, like you actually have mastery over your time, you need to understand finance.
Thank you, Dave.